Real Clear Politics is calling it the collapse of Kamala Harris. And now there were reports from NBC News that Joe Biden has turned his back on her. He will not be appearing with Kamala at all on the campaign trail. We're going to look at the stunning and cataclysmic fall of the once darling of the legacy media and why, with 2 more weeks to go, that collapse looks like it's just getting started. Hey, gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, here to help you stay sane in these insane times. So you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Before we dive into Kamala's catastrophic collapse, I got to ask you, if you're like me, do you have trouble sleeping at night? Because I know I do. I'm a horrible sleeper. For me, it's just a case I just can't turn off my brain. And so I toss and turn, often, frankly, for hours before I'm able to finally fall asleep. But gang, I've come across something that has absolutely revolutionized my life. It's called Beam Dream. And it's completely changed the way I sleep. Okay? What I do is I sip a nice hot cup of Beam Dream. And I kid you not, within minutes, I'm out like a light. And I have the most restful sleep ever all throughout the night. It's become basically like a nightly ritual of mine that I look forward to each and every day. Plus, I never wake up feeling groggy the next morning. Instead, I feel refreshed and ready to take on the day. And they're offering Turley Talks listeners an exclusive discount for limited times. Just click on that QR code on the screen or use the link below to get the best night of sleep you've had in years and propel your wellness journey into the next stage. Click that QR code or go to shopbeam.com/Turley Talks for your amazing discount right now. So with just 2 weeks to go before the big day, and with mail-in and in-person early voting underway, what are we seeing? What is the current state of the race? Are there any patterns that have emerged over the last few weeks that give us a sense of what's in store for 2024? And the answer is a very big yes. Quantus Insights had a very good analysis of the current voting trends of the election. Remember, what's absolutely key to our analysis here of what's happening is that we have to go way beyond just the polls. We have to measure the polls in light of the actual voting that's already been taking place. And according to Quantus Insights analysis, if early voting trends continue, it looks like that we're going to be seeing a 4 to 6 point national swing to Trump as compared to 2020. Now, interestingly, that's what the polls show, but the voting seems to show that as well. Biden, quote unquote, won 2020 by 4.5 points nationally. But what we've been seeing thus far across the board is a massive swing to the Republicans in early voting. So in Pennsylvania, which I'll be talking more about tonight, we'll have a special live stream on the state of the race in this very key swing state, 7 p.m. tonight. So make sure to check that out. But the lead that the Democrats accumulated by this time in early voting in 2020 has dropped by nearly 20 points. Democrats are down 20 points in their lead over the Republicans from where they were at this exact time in 2020. In North Carolina, we're actually witnessing something astonishing. The Republicans in North Carolina now have officially taken the lead in early voting. Now, we've never seen that before, ever. The Democrats always led the in-person early vote, both in 2020, 2022. Remember, the election pattern that we see every election cycle is that the Democrats tend to come out for early voting, either in person or mail-in ballot. They build up this big lead. But then generally, if it's in a red state, Republicans come out and they smash that lead on election day because Republicans come out en masse on election day. Republicans are still, it's my civic duty to get out and vote, and they vote on election day by overwhelming numbers. But Democrats in 2020 were able to amass a huge firewall of early vote that Republicans were not able to overcome, technically speaking, in 2020 in states like Arizona and Georgia and Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. In North Carolina, we are seeing Republicans absolutely crushing it in early voting. Again, by comparison, on this day, day 2 of in-person early voting in 2020 in North Carolina, Democrats were up by 9. Democrats had a 9-point advantage. As of today, it's Republicans +2. It's an 11-point swing to Republicans. In Arizona, Republicans have been in the lead in early voting since it began. They're up by 8 points. In neighboring Nevada, in Clark County, where Las Vegas is, they just had their first day of in-person early voting. And at this time in 2020, it was Democrats +7. This time, 2020, Clark County, Nevada, Democrats +7. As of today, gang, it's Republicans +18. Republicans +18. This is insane. And even in the otherwise Democrat stronghold of Virginia, Democrats have seen a 7-point collapse in their early voting percentages. Right now, Republicans have surged beyond where they were in 2021 when Glenn Youngkin took the state. And so Kamala is looking at the very least of holding on to Virginia by, if she does win Virginia, she may lose it, but if she holds on, she'll be holding on by less than 5 points. And the last Democrat who faced that scenario, the last Democrat who won Virginia by 5 points was Hillary Clinton in 2016. And how did that work out for her? And again, we're seeing a comparable pattern of a Republican surge even in blue states. So in California, the Democrat advantage has dropped by nearly 20 points. In pot-smoking Colorado, it's dropped by 15 points. Everywhere we look, in every single state, the Democrat vote is down and the Republican vote is up significantly. And so all told, we're looking at anywhere from a 4 to 6 point national vote swing to Trump from 2020. And keep in mind, that was an election where Biden won by 4.5%. So what that means is we're either looking at a near tie off by just 0.5%, or we're looking at an outright Trump popular vote lead. So what's so key to get here is that this is not a 2020 electorate. That's the key takeaway, gang. This is not a 2020 electorate. And that's true of every election. The 2012 electorate was radically different from the 2008 electorate. The 2016 electorate was obviously very different from the 2012 electorate. The 2020 electorate was very different from the 2016 electorate. And all indicators, I'm going to say that again, all indicators, the polling, the voter registration trends, and the early voting, everything indicates that the 2024 electorate is going to be vastly different than the 2020 electorate. It's going to be far more Trumpy, far more Republican. And so it's no coincidence that the projection models, the election forecast models, have all, yes, I'll underscore that, all swung dramatically over to Trump over the last 72 hours. The Economist has shifted their forecast over to Trump. They're now giving him a 54% chance of winning the election. Decision Desk has, for the very first time, now given Trump the lead in his chances of winning. In fact, they're giving him a full 10-point lead over Kamala in their election forecasting. Even the ultra-leftists over at 538 have reluctantly capitulated to reality and given Trump the lead. If you don't know, 538 got taken over by basically a group of 20-something Zoomers whose only job is to make the Democrats look good. I mean, they're probably the single most dishonest polling and forecasting outlet out there, maybe next to Morning Consult. They're the very definition of propagandists, and even they have had to adjust their forecast model given the stunning shift of the electorate. Speaking of propagandists, even Nate Silver, who used to be a part of 538, even he has had to adjust his forecast model in favor of Trump. And this is largely because of the last 5 national polls that have been taken over the course of the last several days. Of the last 5 national polls, Trump is leading in 4 of them. Kamala's national polling average, according to the Real Clear Politics aggregate that averages out all the polling, Kamala's national polling average has now officially dropped to below the 1% mark. And keep in mind, Biden at this time in the election in 2020 was leading by 7.5%. He ended up winning by 40,000 votes. Biden was leading by 7.5%. Hillary was leading by 6.2%. Kamala is under 1%. And to make it even sweeter, Trump is now leading in every single one of the big seven, the 7 swing states that are going to decide this election. He's winning in the polling aggregate in every single swing state. There's nothing less than a dramatic collapse of the Democrat candidate, especially when you compare it to 2016, 2020. And that's exactly what we're seeing the media talking about and admitting today. Here's the headline at Real Clear Politics: the collapse of Kamala Harris. And this article points out that one of the first signs that the Kamala campaign was imploding was how Democrat Senator Bob Casey of Pennsylvania has been avoiding Harris like the plague. In fact, I see his commercials in Pennsylvania. He is aligning himself with Trump. He is aligning himself more with Donald Trump than he is either Biden or Kamala. As a matter of fact, you won't even see Kamala in his commercials. He sees how popular Trump is in Pennsylvania. He's basically ditched Kamala for Trump. He refuses to even be seen with her in her pathetic campaign stops in Pennsylvania. And gang, to add insult to injury, it's not just Casey. The Democrat Senator Sherrod Brown of Ohio, he won't be associated with Kamala. He's running pro-Trump ads in Ohio. Perhaps most pathetic of all, the ultra-woke leftist Senator Tammy Baldwin, even she is running pro-Trump ads in Wisconsin and completely distancing herself from Kamala. That'll tell you what her internal polls are saying. And as if things couldn't get worse, NBC News is reporting that Biden has completely turned his back on cackles. He will not be appearing at all at any time with Harris on the campaign trail from here on in to Election Day. If that isn't a snub of snubs, I don't know what is. But in the end, the Democrats only have themselves to blame for this. They seem to have believed their own lies. They launched an outright coup against a duly elected president of the United States, who millions of Democrats voted for in the primaries. He was the duly elected candidate. They replaced him with the single most unpopular vice president in modern political history. And then with the aid of the legacy media, they tried to refashion her as the second coming of Obama. You may remember that's exactly what the media was, quote, unquote, reporting back in August, that Kamala was the second coming of Obama, that Democrats haven't been this united since 2008. Well, the election is now underway. The votes are being cast, and it certainly does look like 2008, but not in the way the Democrats were hoping for. In the end, the voters did not buy this fabrication. They didn't buy the obvious charade that the legacy media tried to convince us of. And as a result, we're witnessing a stunning surge in enthusiasm for Trump. At the same time, we're seeing a colossal collapse for Kamala. And we still have 2 more weeks to go. Butter the popcorn, gang. This is getting fun.